everyone. Welcome to Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. We're working our way to the 2024 Super Bowl, which takes place next week in Las Vegas. We're bringing you the energy. We're bringing the ideas and the info you need to get ready. Hold on tight. I'm G-Man, and there's T-Money. And this week we got two teams headed over to the Super Bowl that we're very familiar with, T-Money, the Chiefs and the 49ers. Who will get the gold? Excuse me, no. It's not gold, T-Money. It's sterling silver. I checked out the Super Bowl trophy. Yes, it's sterling silver.
Oh, man, yes. It's going to be great in Las Vegas. First Super Bowl there. Who wouldn't want to be there on the Strip gambling and watching this game at the new Allegiant Stadium? It's going to be a great battle between two great teams that seemed like destined to meet all year. So this should be awesome. Should be awesome.
Yeah. Look at these guys behind me. Do it again. Everybody was counting them out.
Yeah.
T-Money, you and I picked them to win the AFC, and they won it. We had some doubt, I got to admit, mid-year. Yep. But the Chiefs become one of three teams in NFL history, beside the Patriots and Bills, to advance to the Super Bowl 4 times in 5 seasons. Great job, man.
Crazy.
Hey, talking about the other side of the ball, the other quarterback on the other side in the NFC, Brock Purdy. He did it. How impressed are you with him?
All right. I'm going to give him his flowers. I'm a little impressed, to be down, 14-0, and then to be down 24-7 at half. Like, the guy came back and he was impressive, and I think the most impressive part was his scrambling. His ability to scramble, get out of the pocket, extend plays.
Yeah.
And that was what was so impressive. I know it says he only ran for 48 yards, but it felt like it was 70 plus yards that he was scrambling for in the second half. If it wasn't for a lucky bounce off of a face mask, I feel like this game is headed in a different direction. That defender could have batted that ball or not even touched it, but it went off his face mask, and Ayuk made an incredible play, and that kind of flipped the game there. And so, something that lucky, like, that's not anyone, like, Ayuk made a great play. The fact that the ball bounced so perfectly up in the air, he didn't touch it enough with his hands that it gave it enough, momentum to go back up that high. And that is just timing, luck, inches, centimeters, millimeters, whatever. That Brock Purdy, we might have been talking a different conversation here. But I'm going to give him his flowers. The guy played well. Mainly his scrambling seemed like to be the difference in this game. So I'm impressed.
Hey, man, don't mess with Ayuk. A guy's an athlete. You pop the ball up around him, man. He's going to get it. Yeah. You got an athletic guy right there. Great job by Ayuk. And Purdy, man, led the team in the second half 27-0 in the second half before the Lions scored that last second touchdown.
Crazy.
Purdy, man, throwing for 267. He does it. T-Money finally coming around to our side of the table now.
I'm giving him his props. Giving him his props,
I know.
I don't mind him. I still believe that he is, the weaker link of the team, and he's going to be the reason they potentially hold him back. He threw a pick, and he's not, the best passer. There's a lot of balls sailing and getting thrown into the dirt, but he played well.
He wins the Super Bowl. He should be the MVP of the league. Not the MVP of the Super Bowl, the MVP of the league if he wins the Super Bowl. That's G-Man's pick right there.
I know you picked them. They already voted, but we're not going to go backwards. I'm going to give him his flowers.
He's got to win the Super Bowl. Hey, look at this. Years in the NFL versus Super Bowl appearances. Josh Allen, 6 years in the NFL, no Super Bowls. Lamar, 6, no Super Bowls. Dak, 8 years in the NFL, no Super Bowl appearances. Brock Purdy, 2 years in the NFL, 1 Super Bowl appearance, T-Money.
Oh, my gosh. This isn't because he drugged them there like Lamar or Josh Allen would. We're not going to go backwards. I'm going to give the guy his flowers. He's not better than any of those quarterbacks we just named. Let me stamp my, plant my flag here. He's not better than those guys. If any of those guys were on the Niners, they would maybe be one of the best teams ever. So let's just start with that.
Going back to the NFC, other side of the ball, Lions. Really disappointing for the Lions. They feel like they had this, but out coaching in the second half, T-Money.
For sure.
Do you think Dan Campbell blew the game?
I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of reasons here. Like Josh Reynolds seemed to have multiple major drops. The fourth down drop that where they could have gone up 3 touchdowns instead of 3 scores. He had multiple drive ending drops on third downs. Jared Goff was under pressure, couldn't make some throws in the second half. The fumble by Gibbs, I think, was real. But look, at the end of the day, I do think this is Dan Campbell, kind of losing this game for them. I get in September versus the Cardinals, and when games don't matter that much, you want to go for it on fourth down. That's great, but there's a difference in the playoffs. You're not down a score. You're not trying to gain momentum. You have all the momentum in the world. You could have gone up 3 scores. They would have been down 17 points, and all you had to do is kick that field goal, and it demoralizes them. Now they stop you. They get the momentum. They go down and score real quick, and you fumble. And just like that, it's tied after they score off the fumble. Momentum is a real thing, and I think Dan Campbell got too big of his britches there. And so, yeah, I think that cost him the game. And then also at the end of the game, the timeout gaff where he had to call a timeout because they ran the ball at the 1 yard line, and they lost the timeout, which ended up giving the Niners the ability to knee the ball out at the end of the game. That's a dumb mistake that head coaches should know. And so, yeah, he's the main reason they seem to have lost this game. He couldn't get his ego out of the way and just take the points.
Yeah. But the thing I love about him is the thing that ends up hurting the team is his aggressiveness, his passion, his heart. All the things that we love about him are the things that hurt him in this game.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting question now is, when you look at Dan Campbell and this team and the GM, Brett Holmes, when you look at these guys taking over their first season, 2021, they were 3-13. The next year, 9-8. Now they went 12-5, and they make this title game. What the big question to me is this their peak? Is this the top? Did they drop back down, or did they stay up at this level? It's going to be interesting to see if they can maintain this.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Luckily, they get to keep Ben Johnson, their OC, said he was staying. So that's huge for continuity within that offense because he was masterful in that first half versus the Niners play calling. It seemed every play was 8 yards and everyone's wide open. So I'm happy for them keeping him. Look, this team is really good. I think the MVP of this team is the GM. Like you said, that guy has just drafted phenomenally. They need to build up the defense a little bit. They're definitely going to be back next year. It is still the Lions. Dan Campbell still kind of, I don't know if I trust him in the biggest moments to not let his emotions get in the way. This is a good team. So I do think they're going to be back in a similar situation next year.
Well, the trade with the Rams turned out to be a good one for them. They ended up with a lot of draft picks, and they had a lot of picks in the last couple of years in that draft, and they made the best of it. Man, the rookies that they brought in were great, but that's because they had a lot of picks too. Mm-hmm. And what do you think about Jared Goff? If you look at Jared Goff next year, do they sign him long term?
Oh, yeah. So, hey, look, Jared Goff had a hell of a year. And, this could have been one of those odd trades where teams swap quarterbacks and they both get Super Bowls. That would have been wild. But look, Jared Goff is making $32 million next year. I'm totally fine playing this out and then tagging him 2 times for probably $35 million a year. I want to keep him in that $35 million range because Jared Goff is not Josh Allen or Lamar or Patrick Mahomes. He's in a similar vein of Brock Purdy, but he's still not even the scrambler Brock Purdy is. And so he needed to surround him with good O-line, good weapons, good defense if you really want him to be his best. And so that means we got to keep him at a good number. Happy to extend him. He's only 29 years old. He's just going into his prime. He's clearly throws a great ball and, is above average quarterback in this league, maybe top 10 after the year he just had. But I got to keep him at that $35 million a year. If I can get him 3 years, $100 million extension, $33 million a year, sign me up for that. I like Jared Goff in that spot, but no $50 million stuff like Lamar and Allen and Burrow and Mahomes are making. That's not him. He's not in that tier. So I do think you should extend him, but let's be smart about this. If he's asking for $45 million a year, I'm just going to let you play it out and tag your ass. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I like your plan there. I like your plan. Let's go with that. I think where the Lions had to focus is on the defense.
Yeah.
Nobody's afraid. Nobody's afraid to play that defense. I mean, you think of
No,
the Ravens defense, the
you're right.
49ers defense, the Chiefs defense now. Do you think of someone formidable? When you think of the Lions defense, you don't. And they gave
Yeah,
up 27 points in the second half.
I know.
They got to bring it. They got to bring it, as opposed to the Ravens, who gave up no points to the Chiefs in the
Yeah.
second half. They got to fix that defense.
Yep. I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, man. Let's keep it moving here, Team Money. I want to talk to everybody about Blue Tees Golf, blueteesgolf.com. Our show sponsor. Thank you to Blue Tees Golf. Find affordable, high-quality golf products. Almost springtime, everybody. FSHS. Enter that code. Get a 10% discount on your full order. blueteesgolf.com. Hey, let's go over to that AFC matchup, Team Money. Talk about the Ravens. And what do you think about Lamar? How much of the loss do you put on him?
Look, I think he gets the lion's share of this thing. He's the quarterback. They get all the praise when they win. Even if they play, if his stat line was, 60% completion percentage, 272 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 pick, and they win this game, he's going to get the credit for playing well. And I have to blame him for this because this is a prolific offense. He is a dynamic runner, and they scored 10 points. Kansas City did not score in the second half, and the Ravens had multiple opportunities to drive down the field and score or get in field goal range with one of the best kickers ever. And Lamar threw a pick when they were on the other side of the field. In a big spot, he fumbled the ball. And on top of that, was Zay Flowers turning the ball over at the inch-yard line. You're unfortunately not going to be able to overcome 3 turnovers to 0. And so Lamar, I don't know what the game plan was. I think that's where they really messed up. The rushing. This was the highest rushing team in the NFL, most rushes per game, most yards per game. And they only had 81 yards, only ran their 2 running backs, Edwards and Hill, combined for 6 total rushes and 23 yards. That's crazy. So maybe this is a lot on the game plan. I know they were passing a lot, but Lamar's got to bear that. He's the quarterback. He's got to get on the mic or talk to his OC. Hey, this isn't working. We need to run the damn ball. And unfortunately, he didn't. So Lamar, is on you, man. He's dynamic. He's one of the best. He's going to win league MVP. But now we're getting to this territory where you got to come up in the biggest spots, and he hasn't yet. And so that's where I'm at. It's on him. It's on him. He's the QB.
I agree. Hey, this is another example. We always get on Dak in the NFC.
Yeah.
Those guys can win in the regular season. They don't do it in the playoffs. And now that's what the Ravens are turning into. Lamar, as we mentioned last week, one of the worst regular season to playoff performances in NFL history. If you look at his performance in the regular season, his passer rating, 98.0. His passer rating in the playoffs is 68.3 for his career. He's 1-4 in the playoffs now, lost again. And he's turning into what Dak's doing in the playoffs.
Yeah. Look, this is, like I said, this is on him. He's got to step up.
But it wasn't their defense. Their defense did fine.
Yeah, and like it's Josh Allen last week was able to put up 24. Now he made mistakes too, but he put up some points. And if the Ravens had put up 24 points, they would have won this game. And so this has got to be on the offense. This is on their OC, Todd Monken, a new OC who clearly got a little nervous about Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the field and got away from what makes this team best in the run game. And Lamar's got to be able to step up and say, look, we're not doing well in this area. We got to shift our focus. Let's get back to who we are. That's on the QB. You think Tom Brady would just allow a bad game plan to happen? No. And so, this is on Lamar.
It's very tough to get back to the conference championships.
Yeah.
When you look at these 4 teams, you look at the Ravens, how do they compare to the other 3 teams? Which one of the 4 is most likely to make it back to the conference championships next year in your mind?
Well, look, of the 4, it's Kansas City. I mean, they're the second youngest defense in the league. They have young receiving core. They're just getting better. But who do I think in the regular season can really be the best team? I think in the regular season next year, the Ravens will be the best team, which means they will most likely be a 1 seed, which means they will most likely get back here. I think Kansas City is going to be a better team, But I think the Ravens will most likely get back here, if that makes sense at all. The Ravens and the Niners, or the Lions and the Niners, the NFC is so wishy-washy. I don't really know. The quarterbacks aren't elite enough for me to trust anyone. You never know in the NFC. But the Ravens bring back both their offensive and defensive coordinator, so it's great for continuity. Mike McDonald is awesome defensive coordinator. They held him to 17 points. This team's only getting better and more veteran, and I think they're going to be back in this spot. And so the Ravens, I expect to be here, and I don't give a crap what they do in the regular season. It's all about the playoffs now. That's how we look at, like you said, Dak and the Cowboys. I don't care what you do in the regular season. I expect you to be back here, and I'm going to be looking to see if you can perform in the biggest moments versus the best teams. That's where we're at with Lamar now, because I expect him to be back here. I do.
Yeah, Ravens have taken a nice jump. Last few years they have looked powerful, but man, they don't get it done. And I like their new OC, Todd Monken. Him and Lamar definitely improved this year. The two of them together, and Kyle Hamilton on that defense is a stud, just taking over. They've got some great pieces. They didn't have Mark Andrews most of the year. They'll get him back. So this team has it. I agree that they could be right back here again. Yeah. But it all comes down in the AFC. Who's going to go through these guys behind me? Yeah. Who can get through these guys? Because they're just about taking over the place, and they're on their way to the Super Bowl. That's it for today's show, everybody. Thank you to our sponsor, Blue Tees Golf. Go to blueteesgolf.com. We hope you had fun, got some tips, had some fun as we get you ready for the Super Bowl next week. Father-Son Sports loves bringing you the energy. On behalf of Team Money, I'm G-Man. See you next week.
Peace.